righty. Who's ready to talk some movies tonight? You ready, Joe?
I'm ready. I
Well,
hope. Let me phrase that. I'm ready.
ready to dive into number one? Screw the chat tonight. I figured we'd just ignore them the whole night. Let's just go into number one or number 10 from the bat and do this a little differently tonight.
Let's do it.
I'm joking. No, but the chat tonight. Funny story. Joe and I had agreed. If he doesn't get all 3 stars, like all 10 3 stars or above, that I get to shave his head like mine.
No,
That was
not gonna happen. I saw how you shaved Mizzy's head. I'm good.
Mizzy didn't let me actually shave his head. That was the problem. I should have just shaved it. And then he ended up shaving it himself, and he liked it. So
Yep.
Yep, nothing wrong with the shaved head. All right, so let's go ahead and catch up with the chat. We got Adrian James in the chat. We got Joe Martinez here. I wonder who Joe is. Mizzy's in the
Some
chat.
idiot.
Mizzy just texted me and he said, "Start your damn stream. Your audience is waiting." I was like, "Fuck off." Hey Joe, hey Bob, goes easy on you tonight. Hope Bob goes easy on you tonight. What's up, Holland Oates? Says, hey Joe, Mizzy and Johnny. We got Johnny in the chat saying, "What's up, Joe? Bob had better take it easy on you tonight, otherwise I feel a promo coming from me." Okay. All right. We've got Nick in the chat. Nicholas. What's up, Nicholas? Hello, everybody. What is going on, man? Nikki. Hello, Bob Joe in the chat. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone is having an amazing day. There's a movie that when I watched it on your list, I was like, Nikki would really like this movie. It's like the first thing that came to my mind. I was like,
We'll
yeah.
see if she's seen it.
Definitely not. I'll be recommending it to Nikki, though, for sure. Maybe she has. I don't know. Hey there, everybody. Please pound the like button to alert others to come and join the party. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, I did not put the little now discussing up. My bad. I screwed that up, huh? We got Bonnie.
I was going to mention it before you started.
Yeah, you should have. We got Bonnie in the chat. But then Mizzy's texting me. He's like, hurry up. What's up, everybody? We got Magic Hands in the chat. Caprice is in the chat saying hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Bob and Joe.
Hi, Caprice.
What's up, Mike? Just lots of highs back and forth. Guess who's in the chat? It's Miss Jess.
Hey, Jess.
What's up, Jess? I need more energy from you when I put them up on the screen. I need like a, hey, Jess, what's up? How are you, pal? Not a, hi, Jess. Come on. Show some energy, Joe. Be lively. I got your back.
I'm still waking up.
We've got sup, y'all. Twins' birthday today, so we'll catch the replay. Have a great stream, guys. Adam, tell them I said hi and happy birthday.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jess. Hey, Adam. Hey, Jess. Hi, all from the other room. What a list. Marie is in the chat. What's up, Marie?
Hello, Marie.
Do you vote that I should shave Joe's head? Do you think that would be a good idea?
She would love it.
Okay, well, you go ahead and talk. Introduce yourself. Tell everyone where they can find you while I put now discussing up here so we could talk about the movies. So, yeah, go ahead and do that while I type all these out and just,
I'm
talk
Joe.
about community, and if you want to, talk crap about somebody, go right ahead. If you want to talk crap about Johnny or Mizzy or anything like that, I'm up for it. It's my channel, so do your thing, buddy.
I'm Joe. You can find me on Bob's channel every couple of weeks, the way it's going. And IG, all that stuff. I'm glad that everybody's here in the chat to see the 10 movies I recommended to Bob. These, I pulled something out of Tony's book that I went into my 4 and 5 star movies and I picked from that list to give to Bob. So,
and you would first said you wanted to get all 4 stars, and then you were like, I'm hoping to get all 3s, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to beat Adam. When he got 7 out of 10, I'm trying to go 10 for 10, 3 stars.
Adam got 10 for 10, 3 stars. Adam was 10, all 10, 3 stars or higher for Adam.
Damn. Okay. So I'm at least trying to tie Adam or do better than Adam. We'll see. Like the Hooters said, I need a miracle.
The funny thing is, nobody else has been able to recommend like that many movies that I've given. I think 8 out of 10, and a lot of people have done that. but
Mm-hmm.
nobody, I mean, 9 out of 10 or higher than that. So we'll see when that finally happens. That day comes. I'm hoping somebody. But I love doing these streams. I got it all written out. I love doing these streams. We talked about it today in the group chat. For me, I just like watching different movies, and you can get burnt out. And there's times you watch stuff that you don't like, but you got to take the good with the bad. If you're 7 out of 10, or you know, even if you get 5 bad recommendations, or I shouldn't say bad, I should say 5 recommendations that you don't like, because it's subjective, of course, because
Yep.
obviously you like them. So it's one of those things for me. I'm like, you know what? If I come across a movie like Disconnect, for example, that was a recommendation to me. I would have never experienced it otherwise. Streets of Fire. I mean, there's a lot that maybe I would have come across one day, but who knows?
I don't
So
think. I don't think. Even though you own Streets of Fire, I don't think you would have ever watched it if I didn't recommend it.
maybe not. Maybe not. Blind Spotting was another thing. Sometimes these movies I'm like interested in watching, and then somebody puts it on a watch list, and it's like, okay, finally gives me a reason to
Yeah.
watch it. So, all right. Let me find my number 10 on here, and then my notes for number 10. It was one of the earlier ones I watched. I don't own it. I have a lot of notes for it for my number 10. I'm going to catch up with the chat, and then we're going to dive into number 10.
Sounds good.
I talked to a certain particular person after I watched this movie, my number 10, because they messaged me. They were like, "Oh, I saw you watch this on Letterboxd," and I was talking to said person about it, and I'll talk to you about it. Hey, everyone, what's the good word? What's up, Jim Powers? We got Chef Jim, excuse me. Chef Jim. Chef Mizzy and Johnny. Talk crap. What does Mizzy say? Talk crap. Oh, wait till next week, Bob. I was 5 out of 10. Yep. And that's okay. You know, a lot of good titles. I'll always be, see, the thing with the recommendations is I'll always be forever grateful for An Officer and a Gentleman, because that's one of the best recommendations I've received yet. So it doesn't even matter about like how I felt about the rest of the list, because I loved that movie.
That's a great movie.
It sure is. It sure is.
Right after you did the stream, we rewatched it that night. She goes, "Do you have Offers to a Gentleman?" I said, "Of course. It's in the other room." She goes, "Give it to me. I want to watch it tonight." And she watched it that night, right after the stream.
It's a it's just a my wheelhouse type of movie. Like it's
Yeah.
every bit my wheelhouse. You got a little bit of boot camp in there type of storyline, a little bit of romance. Richard Gere, you got a good looking female, and Deborah Winger.
Hmm.
It's just a little bit of emotion in there, a good ending. Yeah, really good movie. Okay, number 10. You ready to dive into it? You want to do this?
Oh, yeah. Okay,
All
give
right.
me my 1 star.
Number 10 is going to be Trainspotting with
Wow.
1 star.
Really?
I hated this movie to death. I
Wow.
absolutely hated this movie. And the funny thing is that it's most of all people on my letterbox, it's 4.5s or 5s. And you know I like addiction movies, but I feel
Yep,
like when you said it wasn't, I feel like this movie is so similar to A Requiem for a Dream.
it
And
is.
in A Requiem for a Dream is not my style at all. So this in A Requiem for a Dream, these types of addiction films do not flow for me. Like it's not my kind of style. I want more emotion. Um, I'll get into it, but I honestly, one of the things I wrote down was I felt like they've romanticized drugs and addiction in this movie a little bit. And I know that's not necessarily the style. It's interesting because the person I was talking to about this on Instagram, they were like, I didn't see it that way. And I was like, and then we had a conversation, but I'll get into
Hmm.
it. I wrote that baby scene was pretty rough. Did they just neglect? Okay, well, I guess I gotta put spoilers up for that, huh? But
Yeah, you do.
yeah. And then okay, I'm gonna talk spoilers. If you haven't seen Trainspotting, I'm just gonna put spoilers up from the start for this, and I'll take them off if I'm. Let me see if I can run through stuff that's not spoiler related yet. No, it's mostly all spoilers, I guess. Okay, I wrote. It's really the fake fantasy hallucinating trips I'm not into for movies. I don't get into that
Hmm.
stuff. Keep that out of my addiction movies, and I'm good. Not into that stuff. I like real stuff in my movies, like the baby crawling on the ceiling. Come on, I'm not into that shit, man. Like I can't stand that stuff. Like
Yeah, but
that,
I was gonna say you got to look at it also is that they're they're taking drugs and everything. So
they're tripping, right?
yeah,
It's not my I'm not into that. I also think when it comes to addiction movies, especially, you need to be engaged and care for the characters. And honestly, I became so uninterested in these characters, I just didn't care at all. See, I want characters to fight back in movies. I need to care about characters. In these characters, I didn't give a shit about at all. And they're unlikable, and I just didn't care. I just didn't care. And I don't know, man. I apologize for that, but it's one of those things like this in a Requiem for
Never
Dream.
apologize.
I want more emotion, and
Hmm.
I didn't get any of that. I didn't get any like struggle of trying to fight back or something like that. It's not so for a lot of, and it's funny because a Requiem for a Dream and this are probably the two highest rated addiction films out there, I would assume.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's more with these films. It's more like a day in the life
and
of
I
an
don't
addict.
I never did
You know.
heroin either, so like I'm not interested in watching somebody. I don't want to watch a movie for 2 hours where people just do drugs. It's not my style.
Hmm.
I love addiction films. I love when it shows them struggling through it and all that stuff. But I don't want to watch a movie where people just do drugs for 2 hours. I'll
Hmm.
pass. I'm not into it. Um, okay, let's see here. Okay, I wrote this. Honestly, reminds me a bit of Requiem for a Dream. I didn't like that movie. See, I love movies about addiction, but I'm much more into the emotional stories. This and Requiem feel more about showing the trip and being drugged up. They do a lot of fantasy stuff like him swimming through the toilet or sliding underneath the floor. Not my sort of thing. When it comes to addiction, I'm all about showing how it destroys people, how brutal it can be. I'm okay with showing people go through it, but the way this and Requiem do it, I don't think it's for me. Probably
Hmm.
I never got around to this one for so long, and it's funny because when it comes to addiction films like this and Requiem, are probably two of everyone's favorites. They're highly rated. I guess I'm into the more independent ones, the ones that didn't get talked about enough, like a Rush, for example.
I love Rush.
Yes, thank you, my dad and Fish, for recommending that one because I love Rush. The struggle and ugliness of addiction is on full display. That I appreciate, and people do hallucinate during trips, but I can go without that in movies. Don't need to see people swimming in a toilet or babies crawling on ceilings. And before anyone comes after me, I understand that withdrawals are a real bitch. I appreciate showing the ugly side of it in movies, and people do go through a lot of shit during withdrawals. But for me, like I said, the baby and shit, it's a hard pass for me. I find it dumb.
Hmm.
So I'm not into that though. Let's see here. I got a lot of notes for this one. I thought that was Robert Carlyle wrote, and honestly didn't even recognize Ewan McGregor at all through most of it. Also not a huge fan of constant narration throughout a movie. I don't need that. Let me just watch the movie. It's hit or miss, I guess. I don't mind some narration, and I guess it all depends. But this was basically nonstop the narration for this one, so it's really just I hated this fucking movie. Um, rough watch for me to get through. Let's see.
I love narrated films.
Okay, okay, that makes sense then. Movies just feel.
Yeah.
I wrote the movie just feels gross. Not understanding the love for this one with no disrespect given. I just really hated this movie. I have absolutely zero interest in watching a movie that glamorizes and romanticizes drugs. Hard pass, and I can clearly see what that was the point, but I'll pass on that. Not interested in adding comedic elements to a movie about drug addiction. I have nothing good to say about this one. I'm so glad so many people like it. It works for thousands and thousands of people, but I'm one of the few people that it actually doesn't work for. I still got a lot of notes to go through. I'm trying to avoid the spoiler ones. The longer the movie went on, the less I cared for the characters, and honestly, some had just nothing to offer, and some were awful. I know you want to recommend me an addiction movie I haven't seen, and you want to find a romantic movie I haven't seen, but so far you're not very successful at it, Joe. Maybe steer clear of those genres. Your wheelhouse seems to be recommending more dramas and emotional stuff to me. We also have similar taste in comedy, I wrote.
Hmm.
Okay. Also, I think the fact that no one seems to want to try to get clean annoys me. I don't want to just watch an hour and a half of people doing drugs with no fight. No attempt to get clean. And look, I've battled addiction. It's a struggle and it's tough, but this just feels boring to me and I didn't like it. I just watched people hallucinate, trip, and do drugs. Nothing else. That's the whole movie. Pass. So by the time you finally, okay, and then I'll put spoilers up for two things.
Okay.
Right. Last two things I gotta say. So by the time he finally decides and says I'm changing and getting clean, the movie literally ends. Look, this one just wasn't for me. This and Requiem are hard passes for me, and it's rare. I don't like films about addiction. There's like four films about addiction that I don't like now, and that's it. Everything else I like, and there's a lot. The baby scene was pretty rough. Did they just neglect the baby so it died? I guess, right?
Yeah.
We just keep swapping recommendations with babies dying at this point. I didn't
Yeah.
have the emotional punch I should have for that because I was kind of tuned out for the movie. So that's everything I wrote for Trainspotting, my friend.
Yeah. Like I said, it was there's not a like you said, there's not a lot of addiction films that you have not seen. This was one that you haven't, so I recommended it. Now looking at it, like I've had one film that I recommended to you that was an addiction film that I think you liked, and that was like before you even did this, and it was Puncture
Oh, I
with
did like Puncture. Yes,
yeah,
before these streams. Yes,
before
Puncture
you
was.
did them all.
I'd give that
I
like
think
a.
that was the only hit that I've ever got. I like Trainspotting. Trainspotting 2 is garbage. So if you don't like the first one, you really won't like the second one.
Hmm.
But I always enjoyed it. But like I said, it's more of like a day-to-day life of an addict. It doesn't with other addiction films, it shows like, over a longer span of time, a lot of times, and getting clean and the struggle of it. This is more like, you know, a day-to-day life, like I said, of an addict and the stuff that they go through of trying to find money to score and the debauchery that they just go through on a day-to-day life and all the literally crap that they deal with every single day.
Disgusting. It's just a
It,
gross movie. I'm not into it. It just not my style, man. Some
yeah,
things
I
work
get
for
it.
some people, some things don't. And don't recommend Harrison Ford romantic movies to me either because Harrison Ford did nothing for me.
Well,
Um,
at least I saved you money on the Criterion 4K.
yeah, and you got a 1 star on both streams. Congratulations.
Horrible.
I am gonna take spoilers off the screens, and I am gonna catch up with the chat. I guess I didn't put now discussing up for the movie. I screwed up. I do apologize. Remind me to put that on there.
I
I'm
will.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Give me a second. I'm just gonna take all that off. Okay. Let me catch up with the chat and then we'll get going. So Tony's in the chat. I see. Good to see you all here.
Hey, Tony.
Movie Out says you would probably like the TV show Rescue Me. It has to do with alcohol addiction. Started slow and that got great. I never seen that one.
I own it. Haven't seen it.
Yes, Bob coming out swinging. Yeah, 1 star. I'm gonna be honest, and the funny thing is, like, I do actually. If I know something, and Joe's not sensitive, so I don't worry about it. But
Not at all.
there are some people that like the way I see it is, let's say Joe said to him, we got Mrs. Caveman in the chat as well. If Joe said, this is my favorite movie of all time, I probably would have taken it a lot easier and maybe not read as much that I read. Because I think there's a difference between being honest and being an asshole. And
Or hurtful. Yeah.
if something is near and dear to your heart, I don't want to sit there and just berate the movie. That's not fun. You're not going to enjoy that. Some people are okay with that, and I'm not going to get offended or get mad, but some
I
movies are
yeah.
really, really near and dear to some people's heart. And if you just sit there and you rip their favorite movie, I don't think that's really nice.
Yeah. I'll be honest. There's one film on this list that is near and dear to me.
Okay, and I think I know
Oh,
which one.
so
Huck
we'll
is in
see
the chat.
where that lands.
Still hot, no AC yet, but good. We got Capri saying hi to, or she says, aha. Oh damn, Mizzy the man. Hey, Mrs. Caveman, the baby gets a star. LOL. There's a baby in this movie. Yes, yes, Bob coming out swinging. Hey, guy, discussing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Discussing header. I forgot. Never seen it, but probably not up my alley. Haven't seen Trainspotting, so Bob's on mute. So not gonna watch the sequel, Bob. No, probably not. Never saw this one, but I heard it's trippy as balls. Yeah, I found it to be a lot like a Requiem. If you like Requiem, I find that you would like this movie.
Yeah.
Trainspotting I've never seen, but for some reason this movie is so far down my list, but I really don't understand why people praise it for the withdrawal scenes. Doing okay, thank you for asking, Adrian. This wouldn't be on my shelf, woof, but the addiction withdrawal is so hard and it's felt. Addiction movies are tough to own. In my collection, they're usually not super rewatchable. I get that. I do get that, Jim. I would understand that absolutely. You would
Hmm.
probably like the TV show Rescue Me. You mentioned that. A lot of people saying hi to Tony. Not trying to hijack the stream, but please, if you can give to help the family man David Lowe beat cancer. Yeah, I know that. I think Faces for Radio. I think Rich is doing something for that. He's going to, and I believe that somebody else wants to plan something as well to kind of help with that situation as well. Jane says, "Love you, rescue me." I am still offended. Tony says, "Poor Tony." Good evening, my friends. What's up, Jeff? We got Jeff in the chat. I scheduled Jeff's stream. He's finally going to watch my 10 movies I recommended to him. I'm in the process of watching Rescue Me, loving it so far. I got to check that one out, guy. All right. Number 9. Do you want to get into it? And then I'll make sure to put my header up of this one this time.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next 1-star.
It's not one. It's not 1 star. But you're not 10 for 10, buddy.
I know.
Yeah, you disappointed?
No.
No,
Next time.
no.
It just makes me try harder.
You're gonna get your head shaved now.
No.
All right, number 9 is going to be Imperium. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Imperium.
Imperium.
Yep.
I was pretty close where I put it on your list.
Daniel Radcliffe. I'm gonna put the now discussing Imperium up right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna catch up with the chat and then I'm gonna get into my thoughts. Oh, we got April in the chat. She's my favorite. Hey, Holland.
April.
What's up, April? All of these good people here. Season 5 is the best season of Rescue Me. He's not with that one guy, that actor. I can't remember his name. All right.
It's Dennis Leary.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure I'm familiar. All right. I didn't write notes for this one until after the movie was over.
What'd you give it?
A 2.5.
Okay.
I wrote, meh, it was okay. A little too plot heavy for me. Had some great moments, few and far between. Daniel Radcliffe was pretty good, though. But yeah, it's just okay. Not very exciting. Won't be something I need to rewatch. I won't be buying this one. That's everything I wrote for Imperium. It, like I said, I didn't really take notes until after I was done. And I forgot to. So, yeah, it was just okay, man. I don't know. It didn't. There's some really good moments, and they're few and far between. It was okay. 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
Average movie
It's
for something special.
to me it's like a 3.5, but it's something I've rewatched like 3 times already. But I I enjoy it a lot. I really like Daniel Radcliffe. I thought he was really good in it. The storyline was, I thought it was pretty good. It's, better than some of the other films that he's done. But I thought I thought it was really well acted. I thought the story was pretty good because it's pretty much about Daniel Radcliffe being an undercover,
Nazi.
an undercover Nazi trying to infiltrate a Nazi gang. We'll say
There's some really tense moments, and there's some
there
great
is.
moments. Like I said, there just seem to be few and far between. I just didn't. I just didn't jive with this one.
It
Whoa,
was just a
Bob's not
meh.
messing around tonight.
No, Bob's
Haven't
coming
seen,
swinging.
haven't seen it, but it was on my watch list. Tony says brutal. It's okay. That's my first and middle name together.
Hmm.
Yeah. So April, how do you spell your? Is it April then? Like April? Love it. Mrs. Caveman says. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's no spoilers to discuss for me personally. The ending is kind of like just it is. It's there.
There's no real twist in this movie, and it pretty much it is what it is as the film goes through. But like I said, it's there. There's plenty of movies like this story wise, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was well act. I just thought it was well acted. I thought
Oh,
it was I thought, like I said, I thought it was
it's
going to be a
really
three
good.
star for you.
Acted. Really good acted. It's okay. It's okay. Number
Yeah,
9, 2.5 stars. So you two failures so far to start, Joe. Come on, be
I
better.
know.
I'm gonna catch up with the chat briefly here. Eli says, "What's up, everyone?" Eli, let's see here. Yes, Bob, April. Hi, Eli, Johnny. Hey, Johnny. Okay, lots of highs back and forth. Do you want to just jump into number 8?
Let's just jump right into it because, like you said, there's not really a lot that we can talk about with that one.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, number 8 is going to be the one that I really thought I would like a lot more than I did, and it surprised me that I didn't, but it was a little boring.
Oh
Um,
boy, I know what it is.
this one,
Yep.
number
Damn
8,
you.
Finding Forrester. I really thought I would like this, and the reason why is because I thought it would be something like Antoine Fisher or Goodwill Hunting,
No,
and it's not. It's I guess Goodwill Hunting some vibes to it in a way, not really, but he's more just trying to help him. It was just okay. I got my notes here. I enjoyed most of the basketball bits I wrote. You can absolutely
hmm
feel the amount of pressure this kid has on him, but this one is just too talky for me. Just not enough excitement or engagement for me. I just lost interest. I became pretty blah with it.
it's
It
very
honestly
dialogue heavy.
it is. It's just not. And it's not that I need excitement in a movie. It's just blah. It honestly shocks me too because I wanted to really like this one. I was really excited to see it. This one let me down. I gave it 2.5. Another 2.5 average. I wondered if he. Oh, okay. Let's see here. I like how they kind of inspire one another. They help one another, but damn, it's just not great. About as average as a movie gets, it had its moments overall. Not great. I probably won't be revisiting this one anytime soon. I wrote, "Oh damn, it's Matt Damon." Little, you remember that little bit there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I guess that's a spoiler. I guess it's a
yeah.
cameo. It was very
Little
exciting.
Cammy.
I was expecting a very emotional movie. It didn't deliver on that. I do love me some Sean Connery though. Damn, he's so good. Love
hmm
that "Over the Rainbow" song at the end. That's my jam right there.
Yeah, it
Is it
was.
whatever his name is? Really liked the last 15 minutes, but still didn't cash in on the expected emotion I had. Like I said, it's fine. It's average for me. It was okay. Maybe a tad bit better than okay, but I'm going to 2.5 on this one. It just dragged. I expected way more. And I think I had one more thing. Oh, this is a spoiler, so I wanted to talk about it. It's a
You didn't
brief
put up the
spoiler.
discussing, by the way.
Yeah. I know. My bad, my bad.
I just
Um,
realized it.
it's hard to remember to do that. Let's see here. So, anyway, spoilers. What did I write here? I wondered if he missed those free throws on purpose too. We saw he made 50 straight free throws earlier in the movie. He definitely missed them on purpose,
He
right?
definitely missed him because of how that teacher was giving him a hard time and was trying to say, that he wasn't as good. He felt like something was off with him the whole time, that somebody that came from where he came from couldn't be as good of a writer as he was.
Yeah. I'm gonna take spoilers off. That's the only thing I wanted to
Okay.
say. Spoiler heavy, but yeah, I'll let you kind of talk about Finding Forrester, and
Fi- yeah. I was going to say Finding Forrester is one of those movies that I've always enjoyed. It's like you said, it's a very dialogue heavy movie. It The reason I put this one on your list because of another movie that I like as much as this one, and that's The Search for Bobby Fischer. When I saw how you liked that one, to me, Finding Forrester to me has always been a good double feature pairing with that film. That they're very similar. They're very dialogue heavy, and they're both about struggle. So I've always enjoyed Finding Forrester. I've watched over 10 times. I To me, it's a 4-star film. I've always enjoyed that film. I really like how they're both pretty much helping each other. How he was helping the kid, Sean Connery was helping the kid at the beginning, but as the kid started finding out a lot more about Sean Connery, trying to help him change as well with everything that he finds out. And I just like that it, not like a father son kind of thing, but you know, pretty much kind of like a father son kind of thing. Just because he even in the movie, you know, um, he never had a dad, so it was somebody that he looked up to because of what he liked. So again, that was another reason why I thought that maybe you would like it because he's kind of like a mentor to him when he really didn't have a mentor. All he had was his mom.
yeah, it was okay. That's all I got to say. Usually,
Yeah.
average movies, I just don't have a lot to say. I'm like, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good. That's kind of how I felt. I am curious to see what the chat says. I'm going to take that off the screen here. I am going to catch up briefly with the chat. We got Brian Goes Blue in the chat. I saw Brian Goes Blue watch Daddy-O recently, gave it 4 stars. And he also watched something else the other day and gave it 4 stars, I believe. I like Finding Forrester. I just don't love it. See, same. I didn't mind it. I haven't seen this in about 20 years, Mizzy says. Oh, I do remember liking this one. It's definitely a more forgotten film in Sean Connery's catalog. I love Sean Connery. Is Joe's mic a little overmodulated or is it me? Bob sounds good. DL says, I mean, I don't have issues with his mic here. Adrian says, I watched Elvira, Mistress of the Dark on Tubi the other day. Finding Forrester is a masterpiece, depending on my mood, Caveman says. Okay, same director as Good Will Hunting, Mizzy says. You're the man now, dog. Laugh aloud. Sean Connery saying that always cracked me up. It is pretty funny. I agree when he says that. You're the man now, dog. Punch the keys. I really like this film. Johnny says, hey, Brian, lots of just hi to Brian and Coco. Both sound good to me. I liked it in the beginning singing. Busta Rhymes got me. All right. You want to dive into number 7?
Let's go for it.
Okay.
I'm
Number 7.
tanking already, so
We're cruising right.
We can only go up from here.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. I'm going to take this off the screen. Is going to be Quicksilver.
Wow.
Quicksilver with Kevin Bacon and the gorgeous Jamie Gertz.
And Paul Rodriguez.
Don't know who that is off the top of my head.
The comedian.
Oh, and whoever the hot blonde is that he has that great dance montage scene with in the movie. She's hot. Anyways, moving on. Talking about Quicksilver. Let me put up this now discussing tab here. A little surprised by this one, huh? All right, I'll talk about it.
I was surprised where you put it.
Okay, so this is going to be number 7, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
It is my first 3 stars. So congratulations, you were 7 out of 10. 3
as
stars.
last time.
Yo, that blonde though. I wrote those stretches and that flexibility. Where do I meet one like that?
The ballet.
I wrote, take me back to the 80s, please. Plus, Jamie Gertz is in this too. I wrote massive premium Rush vibes. Just maybe not as good. I don't love that one either, though. I need more Jamie Gertz in my life, I wrote. I'll take both the blonde and Jamie Gertz at the same time, please, and thank you. I'm being a pervert. I'm sorry. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. This is what we talk about on my channel. The scene at the dinner table with his father, I can relate to, but more so with my mom. The whole, like, what are you doing with your life? Do something different. You know, what I went to school to do and all that stuff. Like, yeah, pretty relatable. Never saw his dad cry his entire life, but when his dad didn't know he was looking, he saw him cry. Most definitely, men cry. We just don't do it in front of people, I wrote. Yeah, I've only seen my dad cry twice in my life. The one time I saw my dad cry was when he fell off a roof. I'll never forget because I didn't know if he was going to come home. And he cried in my mom's arms at the dinner table that day. And then I saw him cry when his dad passed away. I've never seen my dad cry any other time, really. Let's see here. Has some great moments, but a lot of the between feels like just filler. It's a fun movie, but the story is lacking. It doesn't feel completely fleshed out. It's not boring, but it's lacking something. It feels like it doesn't know what it's going for. A little all over the place. Lacks an identity. But I enjoyed the cast. I love Jamie Gertz, and I always like Kevin Bacon. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but it's not great. Fun 80s movie for what it's worth. I honestly think it got a bit weaker as it went on because I was really into the beginning half. It was a lot of fun, but it just kind of loses steam. But I wasn't bored with it, and I had fun with it. Pretty decent watch, definitely above average for me, but not very good either. Yeah, it kind of has like all these subplots going on, and it's not really fleshed out, and there's really no main storyline. I feel like it's a lot of subplots with no main storyline. Even the one with like Jamie Gertz and the main story.
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel fleshed out. You got these subplots of him being a broker or stockbroker, and it never felt like there was a huge storyline. Like
the main story. Yeah, the main story is the Kevin Bacon story, and even that, it's not really. It's told a little bit better than everybody else's, but there really isn't much that they leave a lot to the interpretation because they don't really say much, with anybody. And like you said, with everybody's story, they can go more into it. They just don't. I think just for time constraints. But I've always loved this movie since I was a kid. I watched it especially back when I was a kid when it was on HBO and stuff. Whenever it was on, I watched it. The It's like I told you when I was a kid, or even now, that loft apartment, I loved that lot. I'm like, when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, I want to have an apartment one day where I could ride my bike in it. Not even talking about the girl on the handlebars, just ride my bike in there whatsoever. I was just like, this is cool.
Watching this movie though, man, the '80s was like every bit my cup of tea, man.
Hmm.
And I love Jamie Gertz. I am seeing in the chat, Johnny says, "You guys heard it. Bob is allowing the perverts to come out in the chat." Let me be blunt here, though. I make a joke about being a pervert, but I'm a straight man that likes attractive women, and I like Jamie Gertz, and so I enjoy making and poking fun at having a three-way with two of the women in the movie. Is that so bad, Joe?
No,
As a straight man, I mean, is that come on? Is that not like a lot of? Would that not be a lot of guys' dreams if they'd seen Quicksilver and they knew what Jamie Gertz and the blonde looked like? Um,
probably.
but I feel like Johnny is not attracted to many women, as you see in the group chat. He's always calling most women that we call attractive. Johnny does not find this the same.
No, not at all.
Mary Steenburgen, for one,
Mhm.
he called her the crypt keeper or whatever, right?
The Crypt Keeper.
Quicksilver definitely brings me back to the '80s feels. It sure does. We got Tony P in the chat saying, "Hey Bob, Joe in chat. Bob is the pervert." Johnny Nikki says, "Is it so bad though?" Oh, Nick, you haven't seen me off the chain. Let's see here. Love Quicksilver, such a movie of its time, 1980s New York, baby. Uh,
Hmm.
what is about what's this about being a pervert? I knew it. LOL. I remember watching this on HBO a lot when I was younger. Take a shot every time Bob says he likes Jamie Gertz. Brian, you know you like Jamie Gertz too. I'm Gertin.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's everything I wrote. I gave it 3 stars. Like I said, it's your first 3 stars on here. Let's see here. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah,
Um,
this one was a lot like to me like DC Cab. That it's just like one of those nostalgic '80s films that I just like to watch all the time. There's not. I look at it as just like the basic popcorn kind of film that just makes me feel good of just things that I watched as a kid. So it was always fun.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, okay, I was trying to figure out. I thought there was
And
something else.
I know Fish is a big fan of
Yeah,
Quicksilver.
less than zero is so good, so good. Jamie Gertz or Dakota Johnson? Dakota Johnson, 100 times out of 100 times. Okay, all right. So we're done talking Quicksilver. Now we can get into number 6. We're cruising right along, cruising for a bruising here. If you don't start turning up the heat and giving me some good recommendations, Joe. Um,
I tried.
I'm,
I went to the well for these.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Don't worry.
Oh, I
Uh,
know.
number 6. I think yeah, number 6. Iron Will, not the other Iron name.
Wow.
That we called it. Number 6, Iron Will. You gave me a Disney movie, Joe.
What you give it?
3.5.
Wow, we're climbing already on number 6.
Yeah, number 6, 3.5. We're now discussing Iron Will. Let's see here. Okay, Iron Will right here. I wrote, let me start off by saying Disney? Question mark with a bunch of question marks. Okay, this is basically the story of the movie, so I don't think this is a spoiler if I spoil this about the
No.
father. It happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie, so I can't. If you're worried, I'm not putting spoilers up on the screen, but this is a minor spoiler. The father's death scene felt so abrupt and just random and forced. He really died from that. It was really corny. Really poorly done, I thought. What kind of water was that? It was a river, right? Could he swim?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that was just poor writing. That felt really cheesy and corny and poorly made and poorly written. Okay, moving on. Let's see how the rest of the film fares. I wrote so. I wrote that down when I was watching that scene. I was like,
The
this
yeah,
is
the only thing with that scene, it's just like when I watched it, I rewatched it yesterday, and that scene, something that because that this film I haven't seen in over a decade, I thought the same thing of how deep is that water? There, it wasn't just a small hole in the ice. The ice was pretty broken, so how can that just happen so easily? Because it's not like it was a really wide river like what he had to endure later on when those two kids brought him to a river that was at least half a mile wide. The one that happened, it looked like a little small stream that was only like up to your knees. You know what I mean? So it kind of threw me off of that happening in a body of water that small.
yeah. I'm trying to find it in notes here. I got somewhere. Ugh, I lost it. There it is. Okay. I love when the kid begins to show some fight. Way to go, Will. Way to be a man. I wrote.
Hmm.
Okay, I wrote this. This is another terrible plot point. This bothers me. Okay, you know how
Oh
people
boy.
find like plot points in movies are just things that don't make sense. This made no fucking sense in the world at all. This was the dumbest thing every time this happened, and it took me out of the movie, and it really there was no chance this was getting a 4 star because of how stupid this was. I don't understand how every time he stopped, his opponents were sitting down, eating, or drinking. He should be way ahead of them. He's constantly running the whole movie. His opponents are like shown at no point running. They're sleeping through every single night, and he's out running the whole time. Yet they're still like right there with him at the end. It makes no sense. That is so stupid. It's so poorly written.
I my opinion with that is because
I
in
know
that
it's
movie,
good, but it's still poorly written.
I was gonna say in that movie, it's similar to another movie that I just watched over the weekend. That there's no like actual way to go, like it's not mapped out or anything. So because as you know, in towards the end of the movie, one of the guys is like, if you go this way, you'll catch up to them and you'll be half a mile ahead of them when you come out. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So
but
I looked
still,
at it as because of his in it, because a lot of those guys, if you remember, were champions or champions in the past or people that have run it before. A lot of them knew like the shortcuts or different ways to go because of his inexperience and because of lack of preparation. I just don't think he was ready for what he had to endure.
it I can appreciate you saying that. It just felt so corny to me that no matter what he did, they were right there with him the whole time, and I was like, "Get out of here with this crap!" Like such crap. I thought. And
I always looked at it as them being experienced and him being a total novice and not prepared to race that race because he had no time to prep for it.
da, da, da.
But
Yeah,
we can disagree. We can agree to disagree on that.
I hate that saying. I'll disagree to disagree. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good too.
Okay. All right. Okay. 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 I was just writing notes here. Um, I wrote that dude's out here whipping the hell out of these dogs like they're Dakota Johnson and 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
That's
that was he Russian? That Russian
yeah, he
guy.
was definitely Russian. Yeah, he was whipping them like Dakota Johnson got whipped.
Mhm.
Very cliche, but that doesn't bother me a ton. But this was just super unrealistic, much too unrealistic to even think it was possible. Once again, in what world were these all these other sled teams ahead of him when he was running through the night? Without all the very noticeable flaws, I would rate this higher. As it stands, I still enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm always a sucker for sports movies, and old school Disney was good at making movies. They just had a lot of like writing flaws in it, but as good as it was gonna get. I also like Iron Will. His character was great. I really liked his character. So that's a 3.5. It's a good movie. It's really enjoyable. It's something I would rewatch down the road. But yeah, this in no world could get a 4 stars from me. This is not in the line of like Remember the Titans type of Disney, but
Hmm.
it's still enjoyable. But it's it's good. It's good. It's
Yeah.
really good, but it's not a really great movie.
Like I said, I picked this one for you because of the whole father son and why he decided to run that race, and just the determination and the fight that he had to do this for what happened to his dad and to pretty much help his family and help himself. I just thought it was, I don't know. I just always liked this film for, like you said, back then Disney. I felt like Disney. I was never an animated guy, but Disney really made some good live action films, and I thought this was one of their better ones. That's why I recommended it to you, because I would have never recommended Disney to you, but this is one that I felt like,
It's not bad. It's not. I mean, for me, it's not great though. Like, and
yeah. But you gotta,
I also didn't grow up with it too. I admit that could have. I think when it comes to Disney, a lot of it is your appreciation for the nostalgia of it.
I didn't grow up with this film neither. You know, I was when this movie came out, I was in my mid 20s, but and I didn't watch it till the 2000s.
Yeah,
But
it was okay. It was okay. It was good. It
mhm,
was good. It just nothing for me. It wasn't great. Um,
okay,
I am
still
going to.
3.5. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. We've got Steve saying, "Hey everybody, never heard of this movie." April says, "Hi Corey." Marie says, "Wow, I'm surprised." Laugh out loud. Yeah, she's good. Listen, 0. Hey, all we got Corey Wilkie's movies and music in the chat.
How are you
What's
doing,
up, Corey?
Corey?
90s Disney writing. LOL. After that, though, the film is solid. It's surprising too. Yeah. Nikki says, "What's up, Steve?" A lot of hi to Steve's. We got Movie Hunter in the chat. He just got all those steel books in the other day.
Hmm.
What's up, Movie Hunter? We got Steve just saying hi to Movie Hunter. Quicksilver also reminds me of another fantastic film that no one talks about. Matthew Modine and the beautiful, sexy Linda Florentino in the 1985
Vision Quest.
Vision Quest is good.
I love that movie. I have the soundtrack on vinyl. I
Vision
love
Quest
that
is
movie.
really good. I was gonna put that on Mizzy's list, and then he was like, "No, I don't think that looks that good," or something like that. He
That
was like,
movie's so
"I don't
good.
know about that." Bringing 50 Shades of Grey to a Disney movie, only Bob. I didn't bring in 50 Shades of Grey. I just said that
He shoehorned it in
he
somehow.
whips the dogs. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
Snow Dogs with Cuba Gooding Jr.? It's fun, but I think you would pass. It's all right. I think I remember that. I like Eight Below. Eight Below is another 3.5 stars for
Yeah,
me.
with Paul Walker.
Another 3.5. So he says I love Eight Below. I'd say it's a little bit better than this in my opinion. But I grew up with Eight Below. Saw that in theaters. It's a Disney, of course. I grew up with it. Nikki says, "Hey Corey, good night. You all enjoy the rest of the week. Good night, Tony." I
Hey,
told
Tony.
I was talking
Good
to
night.
Tony. I said when he goes to sleep, it makes me depressed, and I want to finish the streams. Vision Quest is on YouTube. Just FYI. Good night, Tony. Night, Tony. Just lots of love for Tony. All right. You want to dive into number 6?
Was
No, that
that 6?
was number
Or you mean
6.
number 5?
Number 5. You want to dive into number 5?
Yeah, I'm surprised so far with one film.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Number 5. Would it be this one?
Yes,
Yes. So you're surprised.
I had this low on your list. I didn't
Okay.
think you would like this.
God is a bullet. Why? Because of the satanic stuff?
No, but I know you don't like. I thought because of, yeah, because of that, because it's kind of has that spirit kind of cultish thing, and I know you don't like that.
No spirits in this, though. Let's be clear. There's
No,
no supernatural elements at all in this movie.
no, there's no ghost or
All
boogity
human
boogities.
beings. There's
Yeah,
no spirits at all. So
no.
satanic cult stuff, but there's no spirits. Okay. All right. Where are my notes? Because I think I got a lot of notes for this one. This was the last one I watched.
It's a long film.
No, it's all the way down at the bottom. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of notes too. I wrote. I gave it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. Jonathan Tucker showing up was cool. Always been a massive fan of his. I wrote. That's a lot of staples.
That is a lot of it's a lot of staples.
Let's see here. It starts out really good. I wrote in caps lock, and then I wrote, but damn, this dragged like crazy. There's just too much nonsense and stuff that doesn't need to be here. I went to use the bathroom at least I can't read my own handwriting here. And I checked the runtime, and it was only 1 hour 30 minutes in. I felt like I was over 2 hours in. Some movies make sense why they're so long, but the whole story of this movie is to find Cyrus. Well, she finds him, and then nothing happens. They drive all night and somehow wind up back in the same place. I wrote so yeah okay. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that one scene. Okay, I'm going to put spoilers up for this one because it's hard to talk about this movie. So we're talking God is a Bullet if you're just tuning in, and I'm going to talk spoilers right now, and I'm going to say a really bad word that you're not supposed to say. So women, please tune out. But this is just me quoting the movie, okay? This is her dickhead husband says, do you remember the scene where her husband says, "What is it, you cunt parrot?" And then she shoots, she just shoots him like 4 times in the head or something like that. I was like, for one, I've never heard anybody call somebody that, but
no,
yeah, she fucked him up.
Oh yeah.
I wrote, it's really well made for the most part. When it's good, it's fucking great. But the problem is the runtime. It's not a tight script. It drags and it has too much unnecessary crap. I wrote, I love the violence, and like I said, I really like the first 30 to 45 minutes or so, and I was super into the last 30 to 45 minutes. So that's the thing, and I know people are going to say, well, not everything's going to be fast-paced. I'm not looking for it to all be fast-paced, but the first 30 minutes is really good. Last 30, 45 minutes is really good. That's about an hour, 15 minutes of the movie. 45 minutes longer is fine. A 2-hour movie. 2.5 for this movie, not necessary. It's just too long.
No, you could have trimmed. To me, you could have trimmed like 20 minutes out of it. There's some spots.
Get it around 2:05, 2:10, 2 hours.
I wanted to see if you caught something that when Marie and I watched it, Marie didn't catch it. I mentioned it to her, and this is a good size spoiler. The mother at the beginning with the guy. Did you notice that it was the same people at the end of the film?
What do you mean?
That the girl that was abducted at the beginning of the movie, the mother,
yeah,
and the guy, it was the same. That was the same guy and girl at the end when the blonde was coming to find her parents. It was the same. It was the same people. They were in that ring the whole time.
What do you mean? The she's with the black guy, I believe, at the end, correct?
No, you remember the blonde?
Mother. You're talking about the mother. What are you saying right now? Come on, man. What makes sense of what you're saying here? What are you
trying to say? I'm trying to say is the girl that was abducted in the beginning of the movie,
which is Micah Monroe's character.
Yes, and then when the blonde at the end of the movie leaves the guy and goes and says, "I'm going to go back and I'm going to go," to her mother. Her mother was the person in the film that was part of that whole sex ring. And that's why when she looked at him, when she saw the guy, she realized that the guy was the guy in the hotel room in the middle of the film. And then she took off and left and went back to the guy, the main character in the film.
You're saying her mother was bad from the start?
Her mother was bad from the start. And she realized that at the end of the movie, when she was walking to go see her mom, when the guy came out, because the guy was the one in the hotel room, that remember when the guy came in the hotel room with the belt buckle? He looked like a cowboy in the middle of the film.
Yeah.
That was her dad or her stepdad that came out at the end of the movie when she was walking towards the house.
But he tells her your mother's looked for you for 5 years.
Yeah, but true, but the guy, and I'm not sure if it was her father or stepfather, he was bad the whole time because he actually met up
You
with
think the mother didn't know? The mother might not have had a clue.
probably, or maybe the mother didn't have. What I was thinking is the mother didn't have a clue, and the father was the one who told those guys to take her a long time ago.
Yeah, stupid.
That's why, to me, that after I saw the end of the film, and that's why I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to. This was one movie because of the runtime. I didn't get to rewatch it. But to me, knowing the end of the film, it's something that I wanted to rewatch because of knowing that ending of what happened and try to pick it up as I'm going throughout the film of what actually happened. Because to me, that's like a really kind of twist in that film.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
she,
the mother was in on anything. That's my take. This fucking bug is gonna drive me crazy. The whatever, the stepfather, whatever, the mom's boyfriend, maybe. Let's see here. Okay, I love the violence, and like I said, I really liked the first 30 to 45 minutes or so, and I was super into the last 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, I wrote a lot for this part. Damn, I love that ending. Like the last 20. Oh my god, this stupid bug. I killed it. Okay, back
good.
onto the. Gosh damn, some bugs just annoy you. Damn, I love that ending. The last 20 minutes or so, actually more like the last 30 minutes, was perfection. It brings my score up. This movie had a chance to be incredible. It could have been a perfect film. It had it been for a tighter runtime and a better script. I don't want to say perfect. I don't want to say masterpiece, but
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people could sit there and say, "Oh, if a movie was better script or tighter runtime, it would have been perfect." I don't agree with that. I think there's plenty of movies that have more flaws than just the writing. This movie, to me, the only flaw was really that the runtime. It's too unnecessary, and I think sometimes they're just making long movies just to make them long. It could, and I know it's probably easy to say about any movie, but that's not true. Some movies lack in plenty of other areas. This was well made. It has really good performances, or so I thought. So, especially Micah Monroe, she's great. I could have used a bit more of her story. So, with a better script and some more fleshed out characters, it could have been amazing. It's a 2.5 hour long movie, and I feel like we still don't get enough character development. It has plenty of flaws, but damn, that last 30 minutes, loved it. It really made up for the middle half of the movie for me. I'll give it a solid 3.5. The only reason it's even a 3 is because the last 30 minutes or so, or this would have just been an average movie to me, but that last 30 to 45 minutes of this movie is like chef's kiss, man. It's good.
Yeah. When like I said, I've only seen this movie once, and when I watched it, even with the middle of the film, this was one of those films that I literally started watching it and my phone went down and I never looked at it. And when the film was done, I looked at the clock and went, holy crap, how long was this film? Because it didn't seem like it's a 2.5 hour movie. It went fast for me.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like it was a 2 hour film. When I've watched some epic films that are over 2.5 hours, sometimes it's like, man, is this movie over yet? But this one, even the we'll call it filler, I still was never bored with this film because I was always trying to pick things out. And like I said, now knowing the end of the film, I really want to rewatch this film. I've wanted to rewatch this because this was it wasn't a day one, but it was a week one purchase. And ever since I bought this film, I've always wanted to go back to it, knowing the end now, and try to see if I can pick up a lot more. Because I think if I pick up a lot more of the film, I think it would be a 5 star to me. Because
It's
right
a
now,
it's
it's
a
a
tough
4.5.
movie though because it's a long movie. I didn't know you
Yeah,
liked it that much.
it's a 4.5.
Oh man, it's really violent. The jaw scene is amazing. It is depressing. I do agree. Tony says it's really depressing, especially some of the stuff with the daughter too. It's really
Yeah,
depressing. I'm gonna
I
take.
know. I was gonna say I know Tony really liked it,
He
and
gave it three stars. I'm gonna take spoilers off the screen.
I was gonna
So
say some of the brutalness in the film, or like the big fight scene that they had out in the desert when all the
right,
guys showed up. It
yeah,
reminded me a lot of the brutality in like a brawl in Cell Block 99 or kind of a dragged across concrete. I
okay,
thought a lot of the fighting scenes and just like you said, the jaw scene and everything, it reminded me a lot of those films with that kind of grimy, like 70s style.
yeah. Honestly, man, like I said, outside of the middle hour, that just seems like a lot of filler, and the story just kind of goes. It doesn't develop, I feel like, necessarily, and I really wanted a little bit more character development, but 3.5 I'm gonna give it. Um,
Okay.
that's my rating for this one. Have the Blu-ray, gotta watch it. Nikki says I've never heard of it. With the exception of me not liking horror, Joe and my taste are similar. Adrian says, have a good night, Tony. The look of confusion on Bob's face. I was going to say, I like how the ending tied things together. Yes, Joe. Marie says, what movie are you talking about? Space Case says, and they all told him God is a bullet. Him, I assume. Thank you. I'm assuming genders now. Uh-oh. Caveman says, better watch out for PETA. They will chase after you and try and smush an animal. Michael Monroe has been in a lot of decent films. I agree with you on that. Absolutely. I completely agree. Okay. All right. Number 4. You ready for it?
Let's go for it.
You got a lot of surprises so far, or not really?
That one was the biggest surprise. All the rest of them, I was pretty close. That one and
Okay.
Finding Forrester were the two big surprises so far.
All right. Number 4, a movie that my dad told me about and Adam told me about before you ever mentioned it, is going to be Iron Eagle.
I love this film.
Number 4, Louis Gossett Jr., an officer and a gentleman. Okay. All right. I gave this 3.5 stars, bud.
Okay.
Not a 4. Okay. So Iron Eagle has to be right after Iron Will, of course. it
Hmm.
I watched it back to back with that. Also, did you know that there are 4 of these movies?
Yes, I own three of them. I don't
Uh,
have the fourth.
If I like them, maybe I'll want to check out the sequels someday. I wrote Shawnee Smith with exclamation marks. I thought that was her.
Yep.
Great soundtrack, very fun soundtrack. I wrote very fun movie. Really enjoyed this one for the most part. Had a blast with it. Doesn't look the greatest now. It's a bit dated as far as that goes, but it's a total blast. Very cheesy and quite unbelievable, but still has a good time with it. Just suspend all disbelief for this one. You got to suspend
Yeah.
belief because this one is it's very corny and cheesy, but it's how he gets that back, but
Yeah.
it's
It's
fun. It's
it's
fun.
corny and cheesy, but and like you said, for it being the military and for them to get away with what they got away with, that would never ever happen in real life. Even
Yeah,
in the 80s, but pre like computers and everything. They had computers then, but not advanced like they are now. There's no way they could have pulled that off. But I've always loved this film ever since I was a kid. It has, like you said, it has the guy from the main actor from Heavenly Kid. It has Louis Gossett Jr. from Officer and the Gentleman. It has one of the guys that's from Teen Wolf, uh, the black guy that's from Revenge of the Nerds. The blonde is Oliver from the Brady Bunch, and then Shawnee Smith. So it's just like I've always really enjoyed that film. I just thought it was really good. I picked this one for you because of the whole father son dynamic of what he would do, pretty much for his dad to help him out, and I thought you would
there's not a ton
enjoy.
of father son moments in this movie. Not much of that. Um,
No, it's more of what he would do for his family and for his dad.
yeah, like I
So
said,
that's
I liked it, man. And my dad really enjoys this one. I think my dad was telling me, I was in the car with him a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Yeah, oh, yeah, that's the one." And we were talking about it, and then he's like, "You need to see." We started talking old 80s movies and 90s, I believe. Is there a Anthony Hopkins Wolf movie or something like that?
yes, there is. I have
Yeah.
it.
Is that 2014 or is that a different one?
I think that's 2014.
Okay, that might be the one my dad was telling me about. But I thought there was another Anthony Hopkins Wolf movie. What my dad made it sound like from the '90s or something. Well, maybe I'm wrong. But
I don't
yeah.
think so.
Okay, maybe I don't know. I just know he was talking to me about Anthony Hopkins in a Wolf movie. But yeah, I always enjoy chatting with my dad about these old movies. I don't have a lot to say about this one. It's just a fun movie. There's not a whole lot to break down these action movies. It's not like it's deep cut or anything. It's just a fun time. And it's
Yeah,
probably something not too many people have seen, but maybe. Let's see here. I agree, Space Case. Love Iron Eagle, Nikki says. Discussing tab, love it. Saw it a few weeks ago for the first time. Stellar soundtrack and fun. And that's exactly what it is. And it was cool to see Shawnee Smith pop up. I just love the 80s, man. The 80s was my jam. I really enjoyed this one. Had a lot of fun with it. High 3.5 stars. Can't give it 4, though, but a very high 3.5 for me.
yeah. If I ever got to meet Shawnee Smith, this is the film that I would have her sign.
I've always been curious, like if I ever met an actress or an actor, what movie I would talk to them about. I would choose their deepest cuts. That's how I am, because
Yeah,
everybody would want to talk about Back to the Future if they met somebody like I wanted. I would want to like talk about their deepest of cuts where they would just be like, and I've always been curious because I know some actors, like if you try to talk to them about certain movies, like I wonder if you met George Clooney and tried to talk to him about Grizzly 2 or Attack of the
yeah,
Return of the Killer Tomatoes, would he even acknowledge you, or would he just be like, "Yeah,
yeah.
whatever"?
Because some people like with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey when they became big and they wanted to release Texas Next Generation, they fought it in court to try to get it not released, and they won't talk about that movie at all because they wanted no part of it because they made that film before they were famous, and then after they became famous, they're like, that's why most artworks for that film have them front and center on it, even though they're not the main people in the movie.
I'm taking this off the screen here. I'm not a big
Hmm.
Renee Zellweger fan. Shawnee Smith
Yeah,
is coming to Silver Screen Con, Joe.
I'm bringing Iron Eagle.
You're lucky to meet Shawnee Smith. You lucky dog, you. There's a Wolf movie named Wolf with James Spader, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jack Nicholson. That's
Yeah,
the one. Fantastic movie. That's the one my dad's talking about. He told me I gotta watch it sometime. So that's something you should have put on your list for me, caveman. Caveman, caveman, caveman. All right. Anyways, moving on here.
slipping.
You want to talk number 3?
Let's go for it.
Okay, number 3. We're gonna start to get into the deeper. Now,
Oh,
when you look at number, I mean, one of them is not as heavy, but pretty much the next 3 are very emotional films for the most part.
they are,
Which
and
is,
two of them are a good double feature.
and I did them back to back as a double feature.
And I did them yesterday back to back as a double feature. If we're talking
Yes.
about the same ones,
Well, anyways, we're gonna talk about this one. It is going to be Burnt.
that
With
was the last one I watched.
Bradley Cooper, and that does not look like Sienna Miller right there, really, but Sienna Miller's in this, and I like Sienna
Yep.
Miller from Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1. Let's see here. Where do we got this? We got Burnt right there now discussing. I should have a decent amount of notes with this one. This is your first 4-star film, and it is a very, very low 4 stars. It just barely made the cut. I was back and
Wow.
forth on a 3.5. Burnt, 4 stars here. The kitchen's okay, I wrote this as a quote. The kitchen's the only place I ever felt like I really belonged. And then I wrote, "Have you ever felt that way about anything?" I love this entire scene. So when she, he says that, I can't remember. Somebody says the
He
kitchen.
says it.
Yeah, the kitchen's the only place I ever felt like I really belonged. I felt that way when I run, man. Sometimes it's like running, being out there running is the only place I ever feel like I truly belong. I
Hmm.
really like that quote because I just felt that. I felt that. I love the character growth and development. This is a very long note I wrote. Why does this get so much hate? Question mark. I don't understand. It's not perfect, and it's different than a similar movie called Chef. Whereas that movie is a bit more happy and wholesome and heartwarming. This one is a bit more stressful and less comedic. A lot of drama going on in this one. It's not perfect, but I enjoyed myself with it. Like I said, it's a lot more serious, no nonsense movie. So this works pretty well for me. I still do prefer Chef, but this is right up there with it. Bradley Cooper is damn good in this, and it has some great moments. I'm going to give this one a very low 4 stars. Oftentimes on a rewatch, these might be closer to 3.5, but for now, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, I like this one, how it plays a bit more serious in tune, but it's superior to Chef. And if I give Chef 4 stars, then this has to be right there. I really like Sienna Miller too. I wrote, and I really like the owner's character. I love the scene with him and the daughter. I thought that was excellent. And this
Yep.
movie doesn't start as strong as it finishes for me. I think the film grows stronger as it goes. It's not without its flaws, but it's a damn fine film. That's everything.
I I totally agree with your notes. I always enjoyed this film. I thought it was really good. There's a guy that pretty much was a world class chef that went down the addiction road and fell apart because of, I'm thinking, because of the stresses of what his job was and him trying to come back from it and get that Michelin star rating that he always wanted, to get his third one. And I think it's a fantastic film. I thought it was well written. It's Bradley Cooper does an amazing job in this film. I thought he was really, really good at it. Like I said, it's the last film that I watched last night before I went to bed, and I've always enjoyed it. I've seen this movie probably about 5 or 6 times, and it's one that I always go back to. I've always thought this was, I'm not gonna say a fun watch, but it's something that always kept me watching.
Yeah, it's not really a fun movie. The other Chef, which is a similar title to this,
Yeah,
is a bit more of fun. Um,
yeah,
I'm going to catch up with the chat here. Caveman says I gave you a pretty decent list. You did. And I do want to get to your list. And maybe if I schedule something with you, I will. But there's a spoof movie on there, and I am dreading watching that. And anybody who knows me knows I do not like spoof movies. And about 7 out of the 10, I'm very excited to see on your list, Caveman. But the other three, I'm like dreading watching. So I need to schedule something with you, and then it'll force me to watch them. That's usually how it goes. Speaking of him, he gave me a list like 25 years ago as well, and I still haven't watched one of them. So I'm honest though. Nicholas says I just picked up that a few days ago. Burnt. Gordon Ramsay even said it was a great movie and gave it nothing but praise. It feels a lot like a Gordon Ramsay type of movie. Burnt is on
yeah,
Paramount and Netflix. Just FYI. Iron Eagle's a man's movie, baby. Jim says I prefer Chef over Burnt, but that's me. Johnny says, just totally fine. They're both like hand in hand. Burnt would
yeah.
pair well with the Menu, possibly. I agree with that. That's a good
I
one.
would
How about
agree with that.
that with Chef? I actually think Burnt pairs better with the Menu over Chef because it plays more serious. The Menu has,
Yeah,
I guess, comical elements to it, but
but
I
it's more of a serious film.
I say Burnt and Menu are very similar in style. I agree with that
Yeah,
statement very much. I really like the Menu a lot. All
I was
right,
surprised.
let's see here. So that is number three. You ready to get into number two?
Yeah, there's only two films left, so
Do you know which
we'll.
one it's going to be?
I'm thinking the one that's, by the way it's going, I think the one that's the double feature that goes well with this film is the next one.
Okay. Um, and the one that means a lot to you and is near and dear to your heart has not come up yet, right?
No, it
Okay.
has not. So you should know which one that is.
I do know which one that is. And my number two is going to be Chef, which is I
Wow. You
oh,
surprised me again, Bob.
wait, really? You really thought that you
Yeah, I'm surprised with what's your number one.
oh
Because this
really?
movie, I guarantee you, your number one, I guarantee you, nobody in this chat has heard about it.
No, but you just said that the double feature. Why are you surprised? I guess
I'm not surprised on this. I'm surprised at your number one
okay, all right. Well, anyway.
because I had it. Well, no, I didn't have it pretty low on your list. I'm still surprised.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Well, we'll talk about it when we get there. Now discussing Chef. Number two.
I
Uh,
I love Chef.
Chef is
Chef.
fun. It's more fun. It plays a lot less serious than. Huck says I love Chef. Not the first list, and I can swap out. No, you can't spoil what's on your list, caveman. Burnt would pair well with the Menu, possibly. Got to watch Chef. Okay, all right. So let's see here. Do, 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 do. let me pull out my notes here. Sorry. Okay, Burnt. Okay, Chef, here we go. I gave this 4 stars. I've watched this one first before Burnt, and then I watched Burnt after it. I love the scene in the restaurant where he yells and says, "This is my passion. What you said hurts. I bust my ass for you." That's the scene in the group chat I was talking about. And then you ended up messaging me. You said, "I know this is the scene." So you knew out of 10 movies on your list, that's the one scene I was talking about. But I'm really going to dive deep into this scene. Okay, so there's a scene in the movie. It's in the very beginning, and I think it relates to a lot of the issues we've been having in this movie community. Partly, would you agree a little bit?
I totally agree.
Especially for YouTube content creators. So you got Huck in here right now, right here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a Johnny right here, right? You've got a Brian right here. Now Huck
Mm-hmm.
does a lot of live streams. Johnny does some solo live streams, things like that. You obviously put out content, but Huck in particular, he puts out, he does live streams and things like that. But all these content creators, okay, and I know this isn't the same thing, but there's a scene where the guy is kind of ripping his restaurant and his menu, and it's not even his menu. He didn't want to cook that crap. It was the owner that made him, and then the reviewer, the critic, the food critic hated it.
Yeah.
And so he shows up to the restaurant. I love that scene so much. He's yelling at him, and he's like, "The things you said hurt. It hurts. Like, that stuff hurts, what you said." And I'll call out Mizzy right now, but like, Mizzy's somebody who's been a victim of trolls along with myself and Dave Durant and others. And Mizzy won't tell you, but he'll talk to me, and I'll tell him the same thing, dude. That stuff hurts, okay? Like, the comments that Mizzy reads, it hurts. And a lot of us won't say it, but it does. It bothers people. And Huck, for example, he's putting out content for you, and people are just ripping you for it. I'm not a fan of the negativity that is put out in YouTube content. I'm not. I'll be honest. I don't like that. I just think it's for clicks and stuff like that. I think you're selling yourself for, because negativity sells. I'm not a big fan of it at all. But people are rude, man, and people that put themselves out there, like YouTube content creators, like people who create food for you, and then you bitch and you whine about it. It's frustrating, man. It is. And the things people say hurt, and people don't understand that, man. Like, a lot of people won't tell you, but a lot of that stuff bothers people, trust me. And most people just won't say anything about it. But it's frustrating. That movie, I when I was watching that scene, I just thought of that. Even, it's just, yeah, I love that scene. I love that scene. I don't know if you wanted to talk about it, or if you had anything you wanted to say about that scene.
I was gonna say I love that scene as well, and like you said, it does. That's why when you mentioned that, I videotaped it. I'm like, is this the scene you're talking about? Because it's a very poignant scene for especially how things are today. Of like you said, he made that menu. The guy didn't like it, ripped him online, and then he told the guy to come back. He's going to do something else, and Dustin Hoffman, that's the owner of the restaurant, he's like, no, you're sticking to the same menu. You're not changing it. You're going to give that critic the exact same stuff. And he goes, no. And
and then he
what
kicks
happens?
me right.
Yeah. What happens? And then he comes back and rips into him. But
and I love that. I love that so much, because we do, as content creators, and I'm telling you, you can kill somebody's
drive.
And I get some of these people don't care, but like, you can kill somebody's drive, like you said, their passion for something they do, when you rip somebody that much. Kind of like Bradley Cooper character says in Burnt, I love being in this kitchen. It's where I belong. I love being a runner. And so being hurt and not being able to run kills me. And it's just like, it's your passion. And so when it's taken from you, or somebody belittles you or rips you or talks shit about it on the internet, it's not a good feeling.
No, especially like you said, like a Huck or a Ken or a Tony, somebody that puts out content every single day, and they take time out of their day, time away from their family, time away from other things that they can be doing to do something that they enjoy and something that they have a passion in, because like I said, they do it every single day, put out something for somebody to watch. And to get ripped by people, it takes the wind out of your sails, and it makes you sometimes question, why am I doing this? Even though you're always going to have the majority of people that like you, that one or two people that ripped into you, that's what you're going to remember, not the 100 or
Right.
1,000 other people that enjoyed your content.
And look, these things happen. Like you're going to you have critics in life, right? A movie critic, right? They're going to rip your movie. I just think there's, like I said, even when I'm out here ripping recommendations, I think there's nicer ways to do it rather than be
Yeah.
like, this movie sucked, it's ass, it's terrible. I think there's nicer ways to do it, especially because directors, and you never know, like Alex Garland, for example, maybe it was after Men. We
Mm-hmm.
hated it, right? Like
Oh, that
a
movie
lot of
was,
people
yeah.
hated Men, and then and then you look at it, and now he said he might quit directing. You know what I mean? I look at
Yeah.
Linkin Park, for example. Love Linkin Park, one of my favorite bands of all time.
Same.
He made that, they made that album, really depressing album. It got shredded. People online, exactly what you're talking about, online on YouTube, making fun of the album. Oh, it's depressing. Go back to your old school stuff. What's with the Chipmunks? Blah 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 blah. I like that album. Okay, 6 months later, 5 months later, after the album comes out, he kills himself.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where people just ripped him and said, "Oh, it's too depressing. It's sad. It's blah blah blah." And he was going through shit. And then people on the internet, and I'm not saying that's why he killed himself, but it can't help. It can't help when you read those comments and hear those comments of how much people hated your album. That can't
Yeah.
feel good.
Because a lot of times, like, we've talked about before, nobody ever knows what somebody's going through. So when, even though you, even though when you make videos or you do live streams or anything like that, you're keeping it real. You're not putting on a persona, but you're not putting yourself 100% out there for everybody to know your life. You're it's not like being a Linkin Park, that the guy's pouring his heart out into his lyrics, and after his death, you go back and listen to his songs, and you could tell that the guy was throwing red flags since the first album, since Hybrid
Mhm.
Theory.
He was
But
struggling.
yeah, but with
It was almost,
YouTubers,
a lot of
you
people say
don't,
it was a cry for help. I mean,
yeah,
and then you're
but with
ripping
you,
him instead of helping.
but with YouTubers, or like the guy in Chef, you don't know what they're going through in their life, and for you to come at people and rip into them, you don't know how that's going to affect somebody. Because,
Mm.
like I said, that person could be having a really bad day, and they're not showing it on YouTube because they don't want to make a depressing live stream or a depressing video. They're trying just to keep it real with their stuff. But once that camera goes off, they could be going through some crap at home, and that one comment that somebody ripped into them about something stupid,
People are
can really
mean.
hurt somebody. Yeah.
They just do it. I told, like, a couple of years ago, it was on my birthday. Woke up, didn't, and I don't care. I'm not one of those people. I don't need a happy birthday text. I don't get mad at that. I usually forget people's birthdays because I don't remember what day it is half the time. And some people really care about their birthdays. Some people celebrate birthday months. Well, I woke up one morning, didn't wake up to any happy birthday text, didn't care, right? But the first thing I see when I open my phone is somebody on YouTube telling me how to pronounce a word. And it's just like, I don't need this shit. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this. If this is the kind of crap you're going to get when you put out content, I just don't want to do it. And I know that's part of life. I get it. You know what I mean? You're a target, you put out content, you got to have thick skin. And I'm okay with that. But it gets annoying. And it's just like, it's the nitpicking about little things too. It's a big part of why I don't do any other content other than this, because I don't want to deal with people's shit. I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, it's like I said, you and me have texted plenty of times. We've IG plenty of times. Everybody knows that has ever messaged with me. I am horrible at grammar. I am constantly editing stuff because I type so fast. I'm a horrible speller. I use no punctuation. And I had a guy for years give me so much crap about not capitalizing words or not capitalizing names or not capitalize. It was like a grammar Nazi. With every video I dropped, oh, you didn't capitalize Big Lots. Oh, you didn't capitalize Best Buy. Oh, you didn't use a period. And it used to get frustrating. I was just like, then just don't watch my stuff. Why you got to
Dude,
constantly?
I get that because if I misspell one word, I don't have to write out stuff on the game nights to begin with. I don't have to write it all out. I've
Yeah.
misspelled one word and it gets called out of 4,000 words I type out. It's just it's little things like that that just it gets annoying. It's all like I said, the nitpicking stuff where it's just like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with this. I do this to put out fun content, the game nights. It doesn't benefit me. I'm not doing it to make money or anything like that. I'd probably make like $1 per live stream that I do. So I'm not in it for the money, but when you get backlash, it gets annoying. Now, I do want to call out one person in particular. This is a compliment to the person. If anybody knows who that horror dude is, watches a lot of my replays, he'll catch. Sometimes he'll jump in the chat. But he messaged me one day, this was a couple weeks ago, and he had just the nicest things to say about the game nights. And he asked if I was going to do that. And he said he really enjoys watching these streams and he hopes to do more game nights and stuff. And receiving comments like that, man, it goes so far because you deal with so much negativity. So when somebody takes the time to DM you, not just write in a comment on YouTube, but DM you and say, hey, I just want you to know, like, I really enjoy what you're doing. It feels really good. And it's just nice to know that people are nice out there. And so huge shout out to you if you're watching on the replay. Ellie's always commenting on replays, of course, and dropping a nice, like, Ellie's never negative ever. So it helps when you get to deal with people that are positive and people like that. And I get it. Negativity, it happens, but it spreads. It's like wildfire and all that stuff. And it's just not fun. And it feels good to lift people up. And if you just don't, didn't we know, like as kids, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I know, yes, there's critics out there, food critics, from David Gordon Ramsay to, movie critics, but there's better ways of giving criticism, I think, rather than just berating somebody. But that's not the way to live in.
Because and Chef, he berated him. He
Yeah,
didn't say it in a nice way or anything like that. He really took shots at him.
He said it looked like he was eating everything in the kitchen. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
And I'm not somebody, I'm blunt and to the point, but I'm not going to call somebody fat. Okay. But I'm going to tell you, hey, I think you should lose weight because it's not healthy. I look at myself in the mirror as I stopped personal training like last year. I haven't been doing that. And so I look at myself, I let myself go a little bit. And I've had conversations with Mizzy. And I think there's a difference between being rude to yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror, but also being honest. And I need to be honest with myself, but I'm also honest with my friends when I say, like, hey, I tell you this because I care, but you need to like make changes in your lifestyle. And I think we need to have those kind of conversations with your friends. But when it's your friends, you should know that they're coming from a place of love and not hate.
Yeah.
I love John Leguizamo's character. Damn, this is making me hungry. Damn, that scene with his son about this being his passion. I love that. It's right after his son burns the sandwich and he says he loves what he does and that he gets to touch people's lives with it when he does. I can relate with a different career and kind of feel dead inside without it. But I remember that feeling. So I used to do the whole personal training and then I left the gym and I tried doing it on my own because the gym takes so much of your cut and you're spending so much time there, not getting paid. And so I left. And then one of my clients, it just started to dwindle and one of my clients got hurt. And it's tough when you leave because you don't have a place to necessarily train. You're doing at-home training, different places, things like that. And I felt that when I was training though. And I know Vin Hard Copy Blues does the same thing, personal training. He went back to a gym and he works at a gym now. And it feels so good to know that you're like making a difference, whether it's somebody getting on a scale. And I don't always agree with scales, but when you see somebody start to change, like they lose weight, they just feel better. They're able to run around with their kids and knowing that you're touching and making a change and difference in somebody's life, man, it is rewarding. Because kind of like Kevin Costner said about Horizon, he's like, I'm not worried about the box office numbers. I know that this movie is going to be talked about for 30 years after I'm dead. And that's such a good feeling to have, knowing that you made a difference And that's what it comes down to for me. I want to do something that when I'm dead, they still talk about something that I did, that you leave
Yep.
behind something to remember you by. And I miss that. I do. So when he's talking about that, man, it really hits hard for me because I feel dead inside without it sometimes. Without that and running, like I feel lost. Like I don't know who I am. Like an identity, my whole identity is missing.
Hmm.
So I remember that feeling though. I wrote nothing overly deep here, just a lot of fun, some really genuine moments, a few great scenes with his son. Doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not a perfect movie, but it's really enjoyable. I kind of loved it, and great supporting cast. I wrote low 4 stars as well for this one.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday, and again, I've watched this movie more than Burnt, and I've always enjoyed this one more just because, like you said, it's more of a feel good film. It's there's some good funny moments. I I love that talk that he had with his son. Letting him know his
So
passion, and I liked you know how he wanted to teach his son everything after him being divorced and him having his son for a certain amount of time throughout the summer and everything, and the bond that he was trying to have with his son, even though at some points throughout the movie it looked like he was trying to push him towards the wife of, oh, you take him, I'm kind of busy doing this. But you could tell for the most part he really wanted to spend that time with his kid and to make a better life for himself and for his family. Well, for his
in
son.
that scene when he says to him too, like when he burns the sandwich, he's just like, it's okay, it's free for them anyways, and he's like, I love the way this makes me feel when I make something good for somebody. It touches me, knowing that I touch people through making food in the kitchen, and that's how I felt too. Like I didn't want shortcuts. I didn't want to, be like, oh well, if they're not paying for it, I don't want to help them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I don't care if I burn it, and I think that was such a good lesson to give to his son. That hey, this makes me feel good. If you don't care about it, then let me know. But like, don't just do it because you have to, but you don't care about it. It's not a good feeling. I love the way this makes me feel. It's my passion.
Hmm.
So yeah. Um,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna catch up with the chat. Man, oh man,
Go
I
for
don't
it.
understand how I suddenly am hungry. Yep, menu and chef. Let's see. I gotta catch up here. Do. Okay, cool. I just added it to the list. Mizzy was saying he hasn't seen it yet, and Johnny told him he'll like it. Chef is good. I like the father-son bonding dynamic. Yep, Jim, we both like it as well. Sometimes that negative person can give you the push to create better food or content. Also, I do agree. I don't disagree with that. I know sometimes people love the haters. It's like, hey, keep hating and just tell me I can't do something, sit back and watch kind of attitude. I do like that. Like I sometimes if somebody tells me I can't do something. But YouTube's different than like me training or running or being a personal trainer. When people told me I couldn't make it or I wouldn't be successful, it's always that drive. It's like, okay, it makes you want to prove people wrong. I really hate the clickbait, and people just need to walk in another person's shoes from time to time to experience how the negativity really affects you and hopefully learn from it. Yeah, look, I'm not calling out people by names, but right now in our community, we've gotten to a point, and I think it's as you grow and start to realize, hey, this stuff sells, and you start to see money come in from YouTube, you start to really enjoy putting out the clickbait stuff, the negativity, because negativity sells. Complaining
Yep.
about this, complaining about that, complaining about this, it sells. Not my birthday, but thank you. Happy birthday, Bob. Well put, Brian, as long as the delivery is respectful. Yep. All it takes is one comment that can either push you forward or push you down. And I totally agree. Mizzy says this is true. He's laughing about getting pushed down. No, I'm joking. What's up,
Hmm.
everyone? We got Sydney Eubanks in the chat. Hi,
How
Sydney.
we doing?
Good evening, Sydney. Putting my therapist hat on now. You can't control what others do say. You can only control your reaction. Yeah, yeah. It's negativity. It feeds off. It spreads, and it can just be so debilitating. Yeah, he asked me, and I'm happy to help you with spelling. It's how you say something. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Sydney. What's up, Marie? I will say this about Chef. April's favorite grilled cheese sandwich that I make for her is the same one they use in the film. I just stole the way they make it. That's awesome. Level out, awesome, Johnny. A good grilled cheese sandwich is the best. I love being a teacher before I was a mom. Marie says, if I wanted money, not happiness, I would have stayed in dentistry. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I know that personal training is a tough industry too. It's not a lot of money in it, but I want to do something I love doing. Yeah, Mizzy, especially with tomato soup. Yum.
Yuck.
You got to meet somebody too, as a guy or a female. Meet somebody who you got to make money. Okay, you got to pay your bills. You got to support your kids and wife and family and all that stuff. But I think it's important to meet somebody who's going to support your passion, but at the same time, make sure that you're always hardworking and you got to pay your bills. You know what I mean? There can't just be lazy, and not make enough money to, essentially
Survive.
make ends meet and survive and put food on the table. But I do think it's important to meet somebody who supports your passion or dreams, I guess. It pushes you to be a better person. That's what it is for me. I mean, I know that feeling of being with somebody who makes you want to be a better person. Like it makes me want to work harder.
Hmm.
That person you're with deserves the best version of yourself. All right, number one. You ready for it?
Yep, the movie that probably nobody in this chat has ever seen. And
Nope.
it is a movie that literally every time I put it in, I cry from right from the beginning.
1991 or four?
For
94. Steven Dorff's favorite first movie, I believe.
first
Probably.
movie.
Yeah, first movie. We have got Always Remember I Love You, which is a TV movie, a
Yeah,
very much TV movie here. Um, Let me put it up here. I'm sure nobody has seen this. I'm going to dive into a lot of spoilers. Okay, let me be clear about something. I'm not going to spoil it yet. We're just going to talk briefly. This was like it's easy to find, and I didn't have any buffering issues, but dude, it is really bad quality. I've never watched a movie in worse quality in my life. And so that's saying something that I still really enjoyed the movie despite the quality. But I need
you
to
can.
find a way
Yeah,
to because it's worse than VHS quality.
I was
This thing.
gonna say
I
this
watched online.
movie is only on YouTube. For the longest time, it was on YouTube in three parts. There's finally a YouTube one that's in one part, but it is worse than VHS quality because this movie, I first saw it on USA when it first came out in '94, but it only got a VHS release in the US, and that thing goes for like $118. There's a PAL Region 2 DVD that goes for like $80, and then there's a PAL Region 2 VHS that goes for over $100. I have a bootleg that I got out of the UK on DVD, and it's better quality than that YouTube thing, but I still paid like $50 for just a disc. It didn't even come with artwork or a case. But
Yeah.
I love this movie so much. I didn't care how much it costed me to buy it. I needed it in my collection.
This is the one I would have recommended to Nikki, and Nikki has seen it. Patty Duke. Duke loved this movie. Um, it's really good. I gave it 4 stars. Um, this might be a 4.5 star movie if I could see it. I seriously was watching this through the camera lens of a potato, dude. This was, it was, it. I've seen bad camera qualities. I've watched movies with poor quality before. This was the worst I've ever watched a movie. Like,
You
and
watched
I
it through Tony's magnifying glass.
Dude, this is worse than VHS quality, no doubt. Like if I watched it on VHS, it's at least watchable. This is so bad of quality, but I watched it, and I'll get into what I have to say about it. Um, okay, that's the wrong movie here. Okay, so it's hard to talk about this without spoilers, so I'm just gonna write. I'm gonna put spoilers up there from the bat. I'm gonna give people some time to kind of mute us. We've got Brian saying Steven Dorff was in The Gate as a kid. I never seen The Gate, so I wouldn't know what his first movies were. I just figured this had to be pretty early because, well, was this 94? Because Blade came like 4 years
I'm,
after this,
hold on.
98.
I'll
Yeah,
look it up right now.
Blade is 98, and that he looks a lot older in Blade. This had to be like 91. I've seen it. Okay, so I
Okay.
live with Joe. Haha. Oh my gosh, yes, for number one pick. I'm telling you, I think this was 90 or 91.
It's 1990.
90, right, because Blade is 8 years after this, and he did not. look like a kid in Blade.
No, he looked around the same age as when he did The Gate, and The Gate he actually did before this because The Gate's an '80s film.
Okay, yeah, right. Joe knows the VHS goes for $118. That's impressive. Yeah, it's
Trust
uh,
me, I have it on a saved search, and whenever that comes up to buy it, I always go, I can't, but
yeah. I've
if
got to
I could,
find
I
this.
would.
Joe is the VHS price checker. I'm sure Tony has a better magnifying glass. 1990, Bob. Yeah. Look, all right. I'm gonna dive into spoilers. If you haven't seen this, seriously, mute us. I'm gonna dive into spoilers. It's really difficult to talk about this movie without spoilers. So I'll give everyone about 5 seconds. I'm just gonna dive right into spoilers here. Okay. His brother becomes so resentful, bitter, and jealous.
Hmm.
He doesn't even know it's his brother. Damn, bro, this was heartbreaking. I wrote. I guess I have a new Christmas watch every year, but I have to find a better quality. I'd probably appreciate the more movie even more. Between you and Nikki now, with All Mine to Give, and now this, I have two new Christmas watches. Okay, so let's talk. I was waiting and waiting for when he would tell them. I was growing impatient, but it was really well done. Steven Dorff is amazing and so likable and wonderful in this movie. His character, you really feel for all the characters involved in the movie. I'm glad he made up with his brother. I wonder if he thought about staying with his real mom. He had to have. But I love the way it
Hmm.
ended with the letter, and he probably took a picture for himself at the end. The mom, his mom, the adopted mom, really did raise a fine young man. She really did.
She did.
Sort of reminds me of All Mine to Give, not really, but the Christmas and family element does. Both great recommendations I wrote. Excuse me, but yeah, this was so good, really emotional, really well done for a TV movie, well acted, and just a really good movie. Honestly, I could learn a thing or two from this movie myself. And it really is that easy. You take your eyes off your kid for 1 second. That's all it takes, man.
Yeah.
So the adopted father didn't know he was stolen or kidnapped then?
The adoptive father knew that. They both knew
Well, not
because they.
until later on. The mother had no clue. The adopted mother had no clue until later on in the movie, or like after she. Do you remember she explains the story?
Well,
She,
no, she didn't know. He did
yeah,
because he
she
was the
knew
one
he
who
was adopted, obviously, but she didn't know he was. I don't like the word stolen because it's just in the.
taken.
It's kidnapped. It's literally
Yeah,
kidnapped.
he was kidnapped.
So yeah, she had no idea
Well,
that.
technically, no, he was stolen because kidnapped. It's you go with a ransom and try to get money or something. That kid was flat out stolen. There was
Yeah,
no ever trying to send the kid back. The kid was stolen because a rich family wanted to have a kid and they couldn't have one.
right.
And
Um, but yeah, the father. It didn't seem like he knew that he was completely stolen when he was talking.
I honestly feel like
The mother definitely had no idea they stole the baby.
no, I think neither one of them really knew, but it was the ask and don't tell kind of thing of they knew they were because they were rich and they had money. They're like, I forgot who it was, a lawyer or something like that. They asked to find them a kid, and they don't, they didn't go through adoption agencies or nothing. They
Right.
went, and here's a kid for you. Here's an infant.
Yeah.
And I think they just didn't ask questions of how that kid came around or what. And
Right.
they just, until later on when the paperwork was found in that lawyer's office when Steven Dorff stole it to find out who his actual birth parents were.
I
Because
really
he's
like.
the only one who ever knew.
I wrote. I really like both mothers. To be honest, this feels like a movie would have watched in the '90s with my family. Now I want to for Christmas. But yeah, I'm really enjoying these streams, finding all these new yearly holiday watches. This was the first movie I watched, and already a huge success. It was literally the first one I watched. But that ending with the letter, damn man, incredible. And he goes to see his mom, just so well done. I think it was the right way to end it. But I love that he says, "You can stop blaming yourself. I'm okay. I love you. Your son, Greg." damn, I had I had like a single tear in each eye roll down my cheek at that scene at the very end of the movie. I didn't cry, but I definitely had like one tear on each cheek roll down. And then I wrote a ton of
I'll
stuff here.
take that.
I'll tell you what made I'll tell you what they made some serious hidden gem TV movies back in the 90s. At least to me, that's when TV movies were great and enjoyable to watch. It was a huge part of my childhood. I think that's something I appreciated and got kind of emotional and nostalgic watching this. I just remember all those memories as a kid, just with my parents and Christmas and watching movies together. Really kind of makes me think, get a little emotional writing this because damn, that was 20 years ago. And I know some people might laugh at that, and that's fine, but this is who I am. I appreciate the recommendation. I like to feel something, and I know that no one in the chat has heard of this movie, but I'm grateful I've seen it. I love these streams for reasons like this every week. This seems to happen, and it's worth all of it. It's not a masterpiece, but it's really the perfect movie for me. It's just a heartwarming, emotional family drama, and it has so much heart. And that's everything I wrote. And I seriously think this could be better if I could watch it through the eyes of like real eyes and not a potato lens.
Yeah. To me, this is the epitome of a 5-star film. This one I hold in regards with like an Antoine Fisher for me, just because of, without getting super personal, um, I was, I was never kidnapped or adopted or anything like that, but I felt like I was robbed of my childhood because of my dad, because he ran my mom away and she had to join the military before he actually murdered her. So I felt like I kind of lost that. And watching this movie always made me think of like being like a fisheye in my mom's life of, what it would have been like if I would have grown up with them instead of growing up with my grandmother and actually having parents. So I don't know, that last letter kind of always really hit me hard. Like I said, it's similar to that movie that you gave me with the girl from Game of Thrones that was dying. Right when that letter was open, I knew what that letter that he was going to tell him about, who he was. And I don't know. I always bawl. I used I don't know if I'm a masochist or what, but how people watch the last 20 minutes of Whiplash because of that last scene, that letter scene, for years, I used to just go on YouTube just to watch that letter scene. I don't know. It just made me think of how my life would be different, I guess, and how I would have grown up probably better than the shit that happened to me. So, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a movie
I
that touches me really hard.
I yeah, the letter scene got me, man. The tears just I couldn't control it. Like I said, I appreciate this recommendation. These streams, you could get burnt out doing them and watch some movies you don't care about, but um I appreciate people who make me watch this because then I get to experience movies like this for the first time.
Mm,
It's the sister, he's just a good kid, man. Good kid.
yeah,
Great
yeah.
kid, and cared about his brother, and to not be able to tell them, because it obviously he doesn't tell them for so long. I guess it's an easier question to ask than to answer, and it's one of those things you'll never be able to truly answer unless you're in that position. But who do you choose, and did he make the right decision?
I think he made the right decision because that's the family that he's always known. It's like, me thinking back of even my life, you know, even though my life was a lot like Antoine Fisher, besides the military stuff, it was the card I was dealt with. And how can you say, going to Patty Duke, anything would have been different? Because when you look at that, it's apples and apples. You know, One family, they were always great to him. They always treated him well. They were wealthy. They gave him anything he wanted, and they gave him tons of love. With Patty Duke, he had the same thing. It was just a hardworking family. Nothing was ever given to him. He had a brother and he had a sister. When with the other family, all he was an only child, and it's a like I said, he went with the family that he knew because he even asked her. He asked Patty Duke towards the end of the film before he left when he was in her store, about what should he do. And, even she kind of told him, to go to his parents. And
Right.
that's who his parents has always been.
And I don't think any of them had any idea that was their kid.
No, nope, none of them had an idea because he was stolen at such a young age. And, you know, a lot of times, you don't really know what your kid's going to grow up to look like. It's like me. I could never do that with my real mom because I look exactly like my dad. There's no way I could ever fool anybody. But sometimes people grow up and they look like the milkman. They don't look like their parents. So it's just like, you know, sometimes it's like my son. He's a mix between me and Marie. Sometimes people wouldn't be able to tell 100%.
Yeah. I'm gonna catch up with the chat here. We got Nikki saying, "Have either of you seen Where the Day Takes You? Have you seen that?"
I have.
Okay, I've never seen it. Nikki, next watch list. Another addiction film that's absolutely heartbreaking. Isn't that Will Smith and Sean Astin, Nikki? Jane Doe, we own that on Blu-ray. It's a great film. I just added it to my watch list. Brian gave it 4.5 stars. Yeah, that's the one, Johnny. It really is, Brian. Sorry to hear that, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. Sorry to hear that, Joe. And Joe, I don't know that emoji, though. Is that flowers, I think? I'm
Yeah.
not really sure. Yeah. And obviously we've talked about that, your situation, you're living, how you grew up and everything like that. So, okay,
It's rough.
that's everything. That is all 10. Go ahead and tell me how you would have thought I was going to rank them. I'm going to take these spoilers off the screen here.
All right.
What surprises were in there?
The way I have your list is Quicksilver number 10,
Okay.
God is a Bullet number 9,
Okay.
Imperium number 8,
Mhm.
Iron Will number 7, Burnt number 6, Finding Forrester number 5, Trainspotting 4, Iron Eagle 3, Always Remember I Love You 2, and Chef 1.
You said always remember I love you. You were surprised by. Oh, you thought
I
it
would
was.
I thought I wouldn't have thought it would have been your number 1.
Oh,
I
okay.
was surprised by. I knew it would be high up on your list. It would
So
be
you
top
had
3.
1 and 2 flipped.
Yeah.
No, Quicksilver is better than the 10, but I definitely
I
agree.
I thought just because it's just there's not a really big story with that. It's just a fun 80s film, like a DC Cab. I would have thought you would have put it lower. And God is a Bullet, I put it at 9 just because of the runtime. I thought the runtime would have and the low spots of the roller coaster in that film.
All right, I want to go over my predictions for you here. Let's see. We have got number 10 Imperium, 9 Finding Forrester, 8 Quicksilver, 7 Burnt, 6 God is a Bullet. I didn't realize you liked it as much as you did. 5 Iron Will, 4 Trainspotting, 3 Iron Eagle, 2 Chef, and I assume number 1 is Always Remember I Love You as well. I thought we might have the same number 1 and 2.
You're pretty damn close. Number 10, Quicksilver. Number 9, Imperium.
All right,
Number 8, Iron Eagle. Number 7, Iron Will. Number 6, Trainspotting. Number 5 is Burnt. Number 4 is God is a Bullet. Number 3 is Finding Forrester. Number 2 is Chef. And number 1 is Always Remember.
So I figure, yeah, we were right there with number 2 and 1. But I got your 2 and 1 correct. You did not. So I'm gonna take bragging rights for the rest of my life
You
until the
can
day
have it.
because of that. All right. Let's see here. What else? What else we got? Would I recommend this list? Absolutely. I always say I would. Would I
Except
buy
for
it?
train spotting.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy Train Spotting because I'm not really a big completist on Scream on Criterion type.
Criterion.
So I wouldn't because I'm not trying to complete their 4K catalog. I'm actually trying to get a lot better about my being a completist because it's just too much shit. I already collect all the Shout Selects numbered spines, and they're almost getting close to 200. And now Kino Cult line is up to 20, and they're almost darn near. Anyways, yeah, I bought Quicksilver already. I bought God as a Bullet for the stream, and then that's it. I would buy Chef and Burn. I would buy both of those, Chef and Burnt. Iron Eagle, I wouldn't mind buying 3 imports for that to get the third. The other 2 I would like to check out. Have you
Yeah,
seen
because
all
I think
4?
I've seen the first 3.
Okay.
The because I
Num-
think three. I think it's 3 that I have the Kino for, and then
None
the
is
other 2 are
2 is
imports.
2 is a Kino
Is it 2?
out of print.
Yeah, I have it. Mine's is
Yeah,
still sealed.
yeah,
I
out of
mine's
print.
is
Very
yeah,
expensive, very expensive. But yeah, I bought Quicksilver, which is actually a RLJE title. All right. What would I rate your list? I'm gonna give it 3.5. It's another
horrible.
31.5 overall stars, which is funny because it was the same as last week for oh god, I can't even remember who I had on my channel last week. I can't remember what I did an
Tim.
hour ago. It was Tim. Yeah, I gave 31.5 stars. Thank you. 7 out of 10, just like your last one. Last list, 33 overall stars. And you had a 5, a 4.5, and a 4. This list you had 3 4 stars on there. So um yep. You gotta do better job, Joe. I know you wanted to beat Adam's
Hey,
list. Sorry you didn't
I'm
score.
trying. I'm trying.
I'm just giving you a hard time, of course.
Oh, I know.
Um, okay, let's see here. I appreciate the watch list, of course. And I think that's about it. That's pretty much that's pretty much it. As far as streams I got coming up, Mizzy's going to be on my channel next week again, and I'm going to be discussing the 10 movies I watched that he recommended. We'll see how I felt about those compared to his first list. He had 2 duds. And then the week after that, I've got Ashley on. Very excited to have Ashley back on. She's a peach, and then she's very blunt, as you know, and so that'll be fun
Mhm.
to hear. I'm like, I hope she didn't hate the movies I recommended. um, and then Nikki will be on September 10th, and then the 17th will be Caprice, and then the 24th will be Corey, and then I already scheduled
Yeah.
John Doe Juggalo for October 8th,
Mhm.
and some very fun times ahead. And then I know Mizzy and I got to work on that raunchy comedy series we're going to start. So it'd be good times ahead in September. I think we're going to do that on Monday nights. So hopefully not too many people mind watching us and Monday Night Football at the same time. But yeah, anyways, that's everything, man. That's the whole thing. You go ahead and talk about your channel, where they can find you. I should have it. I should have it in the description down below. I don't know. Not sealed for long. I need to see them. He's got other copies, I
Yeah,
think.
she really liked Iron Eagle. She'd never seen it before till this weekend.
Are the sequels any good?
Yeah, I they're not as good as the first, but they're good. They're not out of print money good. We'll say.
Well, you could get just like Problem Child. You could get all 3. Like, there's overseas ones, and they're not that expensive. I could get Iron Eagle for, I don't know, 3 of them for whatever price, so it's not too bad.
Hmm.
Mizzy says fun stream, fellas. We'll see if he has fun
Thank you.
next week. Yeah, I just watched all 4 Beverly Hills Cops today, or not today. I watched one last night, and I watched 3, 2. Well, I watched 3 of them last night, but
I
yeah.
I gotta I gotta pick up the fourth one so I can watch it.
Yeah, it's not a Netflix exclusive. He says later. What's up, Corey? Later, buddy. Mike says great stream. Thank you. That's everything though, man. To talk about
Yeah,
channel, where they can find you, all that good stuff. Problem Child 3, Junior, and Love is a guilty pleasure for me. Never seen it. I've only seen the first 2. Okay, man. Talk about your channel. What's going on? All that good stuff. Nikki
I'm
said. You have a good night.
As always, I never plug myself. I'm here, there, and everywhere. Just worry about Bob. Make sure you subscribe. He does great stuff. And a lot of content creators in the chat. Make sure you sub to everybody. You know, Corey and John Doe are low counts. Make sure you give them some love if you can. I would appreciate that more than me plugging my own stuff.
Yeah, John Doe Juggalo is close to 500 subs. He's got
Yep.
four and counting. I don't know about Corey. I'm assuming he's right up there as well. Laugh
Yeah,
out loud.
he's right. He's right around there.
TV movie, not the same actor playing Junior. Yeah, I don't have any other plans for anything coming up, man. These watch list streams are about it. Like I said, that to avoid burnout, and even these, I gotta sometimes take a chill pill and a break on. I think, but to avoid burnout and just with the negativity and large streams is a pain in the ass to create a group chat to get everybody on the same page. I just kind of done streaming, and with YouTube, this is about all I'm gonna do. I think for a while, I'll figure out something down the road in the raunchy comedy series I got coming up with Mizzy. I'll try and do some other stuff, but game nights, we'll see. Maybe one day. I don't know. Man. I don't know. We'll see. But I love doing these. I love the reactions I get. I can't wait to have Nikki on and have her talk about the 10 I recommended. I'm like, I hope she enjoyed them. And same with Jeff. And it's every week. It's the same thing. So, like I said, I got other lists I got to get to. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that, I don't know. Sometimes you're in the mood for a certain something or whatever. And it just is what it is.
I totally agree.
No disrespect intended. Yeah, Mizzy, the only thing I remember that kid from part 3 is he's in the kid at the beginning of basketball.
I was gonna say I never even know didn't even know there was a Prop and Child 3. I have the first two.
Fun stream.
I didn't.
Always putting his heart out there. Yep. Always.
Now I'm gonna have to look that up.
Johnny says, "Great stream, guys." Johnny, tell
Thanks,
April
Johnny.
well said good night, and let April know that April is everyone's favorite, along with Nikki. I've watched one of them 3 times, Bob. Oh, geez. She's watched my list. She said she watched one of the movies 3 times already.
Wow.
That's got to be a good thing, right?
Has to be. Probably her number one.
Good night, guys. I can't wait for that stream. Oh, was he? Laugh out loud. I'll have to go back and rewatch them. Johnny. I like to tease Johnny. I can't wait for that stream, Nikki. I can't wait. There's no pressure to anybody watching the movies I recommend. Because somebody was recently asking me, they're like, "Can I give you a watch list? But I'm not really interested in watching 10 you want to recommend." I was like, "That's fine." I was like, "I could give you a list of 10, and if it takes you 6 years, it takes you 6 years to watch them." I was like, "It is what it is." I was like, "But you could give me one list. I don't have to give you 10." So, All right, man. We'll chat backstage. I'm going to give you a list of 10. It's probably going to be a lot of deep cuts that nobody in the chat has heard of once again, but it is what it is, right?
It is what it is. You're gonna have to go deep to find stuff I haven't watched.
That's how I want to start getting, where people are just like, "I don't have anything to recommend to you." That's the day I long for, is when people are like, "I don't have anything to recommend to you, Bob, anymore." That'll be my most successful moment. Because it means I've seen everything and people can't figure out what to recommend. But the thing about movies is there's always movies to recommend. You just got to think.
Yep.
Just
exactly.
All right, can't wait to see everyone next Tuesday. It's going to be a blast. Seriously, tune in for that one, because I've got some very strong opinions about Mizzy's list once again.
Oh boy.
Yep, very strong opinions on it. So, all right, everyone. I've seen Free Guy 5 times. Joey's yet to finish it. You got to finish Free Guy. Fall Guy or Free Guy? Yeah,
Free
Guy.
It's Free Guy.
Not Fall Guy, not the new one.
No, Free Guy. We put it in 5 times, and I always fell asleep in the middle of it because I got bored.
I don't have
she sat and finished it.
I have the 4K slip, but no Steelbook. I want that Steelbook, though. All right, everyone.
Shocked. It's Disney.
Have a good night.